It's Premier League season number 4 coming up for Aston Villa. Can they crack the top 10? Aston Villa made their last top half finish in the Premier League back in 2011 under Gerrard Houllier. That ended a run of 12 top half finishes in the previous 16 seasons. Along comes a big slump, which we'll put down to ownership issues with Randy Lerner and then Dr. Tony Shear. But the NSWE ownership group brought Villa back to the Premier League in 2019 after 3 seasons in the Championship that represented a near 50-year low for the club. The combination of Villa's stature and the sheer fortune that owners Nassef Sawiris from construction and Wes Eden from private equity are able to finance the club with means that expectation and ambition is extremely high. Yes, we know fans and sometimes owners do inflate expectation levels to somewhat unrealistic amounts, but that doesn't feel like it's the case as it pertains to Villa. It was sheer bloody-minded survival instinct in Season 1 for Villa. They survived by 1 place and 1 point on the final day in 2020. But Season 2 saw a big jump up 6 places to 11th. And on the pitch, brilliant seasons from Emi Martinez, Ollie Watkins and Jack Grealish. So, with Villa poised on the edge of the top 10 then last season, star player and captain Grealish was off when Manchester City triggered that get-out clause with a £100 million bid. Grealish's departure led to what now looks like a bit of a transitional season at Villa Park last time out. The team first had to learn to play without their talisman, and the strategy seemingly to replace his output was to use multiple players. Dean Smith, the man who took Villa up from the Championship and stabilised them in the Premier League, was sacked with the club 16th in the table and replaced with Liverpool legend and Glasgow Rangers boss Stevie Gerrard. Villa, in the end, finished 14th. There was the big, exciting arrival of Philippe Coutinho during the season, but at the end, a big departure as Gerrard's Glasgow Rangers sidekick Michael Beale left to take the big seat over at QPR and was replaced by highly rated Blackpool boss Neil Critchley as Villa assistant. So that takes us up to the present day. We'll have a look at what next season might look like imminently. But first, if you're enjoying the video, please do me a big favour. Hit that like button. I think we've already established that in terms of club size, average attendance, owner resource, Villa do already have the feel of a top half Premier League club. But how does the playing and management staff stack up? Well, the first choice keeper Martinez and fullbacks Cash and Digne are, I would say, up to snuff. Diego Carlos at centre-half has arrived, and that was probably a necessary addition to a group of centre-halves, including Mings, Konza and Chambers. Central midfielder Boubacar Kamara, a 22-year-old fully-fledged French international, has arrived in an area where I think there's plenty of quality already with John McGinn, Douglas Luiz, Jacob Ramsey, plus Carney Chukwuemeka likely to feature a bit more next season breaking through. The top end is probably the most intriguing, but the permanent arrival of Coutinho on the pitch and what it stands for in terms of his status in the game is surely a good thing. Watkins and Ings are proven Premier League goal getters, but Villa will likely want more, particularly from Ings. I'm a big Emi Buendia fan, so I've got faith that he will step up. Bailey seems to be a bit of a bust, but you never know. So I'd suggest if another player comes in, it might be in that area of the pitch. In my opinion, that playing squad, particularly the first 11, doesn't feel at all far off where it needs to be. And everything we hear is about strengthening rather than important players leaving. So what about the manager then? Now feels like a bit of a jumping off point for Stevie Gerrard. He's got a good job at Villa. Great club with ambition, expecting to move up the Premier League table. We have to give him a tick in the box for what he did at Rangers, but the Premier League is obviously a different kettle of fish entirely. If we look at the table since Gerrard took over at Villa, that does intimate that they'll be in the top half next season. That's obviously assuming the league doesn't get disproportionately more difficult and that there's no big drop-off switching assistants from Beale to Critchley. Beale was very highly regarded in terms of the coaching community, and whilst I do believe that there's no smoke without fire, I do also find those people who come out with the rather trite "he was the brains of the operation" do seldom follow up the claim with a single bit of tangible first-hand evidence that that's actually the case. And what about the competition? Well, boring as it may seem, you could imagine last year's top 8 being next season's top 8 and certainly all in the top 10. So, without a mighty drop-off from either West Ham or Leicester outside of the Big Six, feels like there's only 2 top half spots to go for. Although, those were occupied by Wolves and Brighton last season, who Villa did finish above the previous season in 2020-2021. In terms of teams in the bottom half last season who will have similar expectations to Villa about moving up into the top half, well, Palace, Brentford and Southampton, they seem fairly happy in their current ecosystem. Leeds and Everton do have size on their side like Villa, but it just feels a bit too soon for their managers to move that far up that quickly. Forest have come up with ludicrous momentum. Who knows where that'll take them? But you would imagine that all 3 of the promoted clubs would consider any type of survival and banking another 100 million quid TV money as a job well done. The elephant in the room as it pertains to challenges for Villa moving from bottom half to top half is, of course, Newcastle, who I think we're all expecting to not have too much trouble making the move from 11th into the top half, given the improvement under Eddie Howe and the expected investment to come there. So, in conclusion, my feelings are fairly positive about Villa possibly moving up into a top 10 spot with a fair wind, and by that I mean no injury chaos, ownership, financial chaos that we don't know about now that may transpire itself. I'd suggest the quality of the first 11, the recruitment, the state of the competition, all looks positive in Villa's favour. The unknown around Stevie Gerrard, he hasn't been there a full season and his assistant has changed, appears to be the only potential fly in the ointment in terms of Villa manoeuvring upwards. Get involved via the comments. Do you see Aston Villa in the top half come at the end of next season or not? Let me know what you think, and of course let me know why. If you enjoyed the video and you want to stay here with the channel and with the Aston Villa theme, then why not click here to see my analysis of the arrival of Neil Krissy from Blackpool, or go back in the old time machine and click here and you can see a Benjamin Bloom classic, my review. I was there when Aston Villa were promoted to the Premier League at Wembley against Darby in 2019.